True Boxing King says, why can't Trevor Lawrence have a terrible rookie year in 2021, come back 2022, and his first game is just as bad as Trey's, yet no one says anything about him?
You talked to it.
Because the Jaguars are terrible and the Niners have high expectations, and it's just the situation with the Niners is unprecedented. Have you ever heard of a quarterback being on a team that went to a Super Bowl and then all of a sudden being replaced and staying and being the backup? I've never heard of it. It's unique. And so people are obsessed with it.
Plus, this is a Bay Area, and
no one cares about Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Raja says, let's go sign AP and Mason can learn from him. No, but the Niners should go trade for Kareem Hunt. Do you know who Kareem Hunt is, Dad?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. He's a good player, though. What do you think?
I mean, he's great.
He's great. I would get him.
Maybe they
he has a pass.
Jimmy for him.
Yeah, I'd say so. Gabe Rocha says, I saw Colin Cowherd call Kyle Shanahan a Hall of Fame coach this morning. I threw the remote through my TV. Yeah,
wait, say that. Read that again.
Gabe Rocha says, I saw Colin Cowherd call Kyle Shanahan a Hall of Fame coach this morning. I threw the remote through my TV.
I hope it's a metaphor. You didn't throw the remote.
I don't think
now, this Colin what's his name? Cowherd?
Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, he talks a lot about the Niners. Ziggy, have you ever met him?
No.
He's never there, right?
Never.
So he has an expertise. Colin, I think Kyle Shanahan is a very good coach. I used to call him a promising coach, but he's too old to be promising. Now he needs to deliver. I don't think you can be a Hall of Fame coach with a losing record and never having won a Super Bowl. Let's move on.
You know what Colin is? He's a grapevine journalist.
I don't know what that means.
A grapevine journalist?
I heard it through the grapevine.
Yeah. So is Chris Sims. All these guys heard some. Oh, you're a grapevine journalist. Oh, that's good.
You know what Brian Sabian used to call journalists like that? The whisper guys.
The whisper guys.
The whisper guys.
I like that. They're whisper guys. William Bonnet says Trey's not a finished product. Shocker. The team let him down on Sunday, not the other way around. Super Bowl team didn't look that way to me. 12-99. Yeah, how are you going to call yourself a football team when you give up 99 yards of penalty yardage? You can't talk about Super Bowl? Playoffs? We just got to beat the Bears. Yeah, it's true, man. That's a good point. Ethan says, do you think Kyle is underestimating Lance?
No. I don't think I think he's trying to coax him along the way a parent coaxes along a child or a good educator coaxes along a student.
You know what? This is Kyle. So he has a perfect game plan. He probably worked on it with his dad and all of his connections. Something breaks down. In this case, the running back gets hurt. So it's like a car, right? One thing breaks down. Can Kyle fix it mid-game? No. So what does he do? He just throws the car away. Everything falls apart. And then he'll fix it this week with his dad. And I'm telling you, his game plan this week against Seahawks will be great. But if something breaks down mid-game, I don't know.
Walsh would never praise any other coaches, ever. And he was talking about one coach one time, and he said, he can drive the car, but can he build it? So that's the question with Kyle. He can drive the car. Can he build it?
He can build it midweek. But when one thing breaks down during the race, can you fix it? You couldn't this week.
Your pit crew has to be able to put on new tires.
9 carries for Jeff Wilson Jr. Come on, man. What do you need to see? Larry, I don't know if you watched the show with me and Larry yesterday, but he had a great line. He's a good scout. And he said, Jeff Wilson Jr. used to be a one-cut runner. Right now, he's a no-cut runner. He's a no-cut runner. He just runs really hard into a pile and tries to push it forward. Come on, Kyle. Give someone else a chance. Someone.
I love it. I love that.
All Niners says, I'm worried for Trey Lance, not because of his play, but because he is being set up for failure from his team to his coaches to the media. I hope he can prove all the above wrong, but still worried. One thing that's tough is how is the locker room supposed to be 100% behind Trey when it doesn't seem like the organization is 100% behind Trey because Jimmy's still here? It's just all these mixed messages.
I agree. Iggy, I've never seen anything like this.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
J-Rod5 says, I don't get the idea of supporting a guy who consistently has underperformed and losing the big games with a top-notch roster all around him playing their hearts out. I think it's complicated. Again, as I said earlier, George loves Jimmy. They grew up together. They made money together. There's probably a bit of a brotherhood, and I don't know what you would call it. Jimmy made me a millionaire. What would I be right now without Jimmy? Hard to say. How do I turn my back on that? I think there's a lot of players that feel that way with Jimmy.
I agree with you.
A lot of these guys were in the Super Bowl with Jimmy. Would they have been the Super Bowl without Jimmy? What would they be if they hadn't been that Super Bowl? What would Fred Warner be? I think a lot of people feel they came up together, they got paid together, and now we're all just supposed to turn our back on this guy. It's tough.
I want to say something.
Yeah.
I think it'll never happen, but I think it would be appropriate for Jimmy to call a team meeting this week.
Yeah.
And to say, look, we're all disappointed that we lost, and some of you may really want me to be the quarterback. I want to say this is Trey Lance's team.
Yep.
I'm never going to badmouth him.
Yep.
I'll give him all the help I can in meetings and during games, and I want you to do that too. That would be the most enlivening thing that Jimmy could do for the team.
I know why you're saying that.
I know.
Kurt
you know
Warner. Kurt Warner.
By the way, I didn't get it from Kurt Warner.
But he did something similar to that, right? Didn't he say he did?
Eli Manning.
With Eli Manning, he was in the same situation, but Kurt actually won the Super Bowl when he was there. I think he might have lost one, but he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then he got moved aside for rookie Eli Manning, and a lot of the players wanted Kurt on the team to start, and he had to I don't know if he said it himself, but he went to Tom Coughlin and said, "You need to say that this is Eli's team."
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think, again, if Jimmy doesn't do it, it doesn't mean he's a bad guy, but it would be the thing to do.
It would. Lorenzo Pinto says Debo needs to be great like last year to make Trey look good, just like he's made Jimmy look decent. We need our playmakers to step it up, Debo.
I agree. And speaking of that, Iggy, at the end of the game, did Debo get the ball a lot?
No, he didn't get the ball a lot. He didn't play well in this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, but you would think that at the end, if you wanted to run the ball, you'd have more plays for him.
True. That's a good point.
Okay.
I also want to say, I was talking about Kyle like embracing the current team and not being stuck on the previous team. Debo was great last year. This year, he wasn't there for most of the offseason. He's not the same guy. The guy that Trey Lance has a connection with right now is Ayuk. Throw to Ayuk. Come on. Ayuk is open down the field and outside the numbers. Ayuk's been in every freaking practice. He was there in February outside the facility with Trey. Throw to Ayuk. This is 2022. It's a different cast.
Love it. Love it.
Yep. A couple more. Gunner says, why does Kyle treat a 10-point lead like a 40-point lead? I feel like he and Trey had it going with those crossing routes and moving the pocket. Got to keep it. That's a great point. A 10-point lead is not a lead. How many 10-point leads has Kyle messed up in his life? It's not a real lead in the NFL until it's 2 scores. That means 17 points. Until it's a 17-point lead, it's anyone's game.
Yep, I agree.
And I feel like no blitzing from the defense, no deep shots in the second half, just way too conservative. Like, oh, we got this. It's the Bears. They suck. Like, no, it's raining. Funny things happen. Oh, wait, Dante Pettis just scored a 51-yard touchdown. You didn't see that one coming, did you?
Hey, Iggy, can you imagine how Pettis felt when he must have been so happy?
I'm happy for him. I mean, imagine a guy who they really must have, his self-esteem must have been so much worse after he came out of this organization and he got one day. Nice. Good for him. Salah says, I don't know why Trey hasn't been moved outside of the pocket rollouts and cut the field in half. Why do you guys think that is happening? That's another thing. Do it. Do it. I thought there was one time in the second half when it was raining when they tried and he had to throw the ball away. Maybe the other team was doing a good job of keeping him in the pocket. But yeah, you want to get him out of there.
I understand what you mean. Move the pocket.
Left, right. Get him out of there because pass protection isn't what they do. All Niners says, side note, Grant, you should do a video of you game planning the first 2 drives and then compare to Kyle's game plan on Sunday. That would be fun. I like his game plans. His game plans are really creative and cool. It's just his adjustments that I critique. Yeah. But that's a good idea.
No, it's not.
I couldn't do it. MM Forever says, even if Lance goes 0 for 17, you have to follow through with him as the starter. The kid's upside is worth the lost season. Going to Jimmy stunts his growth.
I agree.
Yep. Craig Rose says, loss at Chicago, maybe the gut check this team needs. Bad play calling late, loss of Mitchell, and some crappy conditions all contributed to 1 loss. Yeah, didn't you say a lot of times, like, what coaches like about a loss is it gets the players' attention. It's easier to coach them after a loss.
Yes, if you're anyone except Jim Tomsula.
Or Chip Kelly. Hold on. Matthew Sanders says, is there any player willing to criticize Trey who did their job impeccably in the loss? Is there any individual blameless in this loss? Ooh, the Christian. He who has not sinned cast the first stone. I like that. I like that. It's a good point. Thank you, Matthew. DJ Mark Keith says Kyle won't win Super Bowl unless he owns his mistakes, play calling penalties, lack of grit. I'd rather become a Texans fan than see Jimmy Garoppolo play for the Niners again. Oof.
Well, we'll see how this season plays out.
The Goose says week 1 felt more of a preseason game. Niners better show this week against the Seahawks that week 1 was a fluke. Blowout, 30 points minimum. Yeah, I imagine. Well, it's not going to happen. 30 points.
It was a preseason game. They totally weren't prepared.
Yeah.
They were still in spring training.
That's right.
And I think maybe the whole league was.
Yeah. Well, now you got not a must-win game, but season opener against the Seahawks, and you're 0-1. It's not preseason anymore, baby. Go win this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you're cool losing your home opener to Geno Smith. That Niner guy says, hi, sweetie and Lowell. Trey made 4 mistakes in the game, but went right to place on each throw. What's the right place on each throw? He needs to be more consistent and much more fluid in the pocket, but good things I can hope he can correct. Yes. Yeah. Pocket passing is all about experience. Yes. Can't get better without doing it. I agree.
Good point, sweetie.
It's all your fault. George says, ask Dad if Bill had Jimmy 2 NFC championships and 1 Super Bowl appearance. Would Bill given up on Jimmy and give up 3 first-round picks for an unproven kid who only played 1 season in college?
Okay. I believe I can answer that question. In the first place, Bill never would have wanted Jimmy. He never would have had him as his quarterback because he's too slow and his throwing range is too limited. So he never would have taken him.
Bill wanted quick, nimble feet, right? That's not Jimmy.
Absolutely. And he wanted perfect footwork, and that's not Jimmy.
Right.
Having said that, would Bill have mortgaged the future of his team for an unproven college player? Not in a million years. No. Kyle and John Lynch have put themselves in a pickle between these 2 quarterbacks because of choices they made that Bill never would have made.
Yes. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Salasafati says, why can't the Niners stop mobile quarterbacks? I have a theory. A lot of defenses are kind of a read and react. They want you to not just pin your ears back and go get the quarterback. You're supposed to actually look around and see things. The Niners just tell their defensive linemen, get the quarterback. So if the quarterback can move like Kyler Murray or Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, there's openings, there's scramble lanes, and they're not thinking contain the quarterback. They're thinking, destroy the quarterback. I think that's why.
Yeah.
So that's why they're going to do a lot better against Geno, because Geno's not going anywhere.
No, they're going to. I was going to say, they're going to have their way with Geno.
Yes, they will. Jeff Bernardo says, get the feeling these vets still don't respect Trey. These O-linemen not picking him up after getting hit is ridiculous. Kyle's NFC's Mike Tomlin. Ooh, the thing with Mike, that's a good point. So Mike, the reputation for Mike Tomlin is that he's too soft with his players. Players coach, but they like him, but he, never, I don't know, I guess is a soft touch. I don't know.
I don't have an opinion on that.
I don't really cover that team, but I know what you mean. I don't know if that's Kyle. John Evander Balin says that TD to Catman wasn't T's fault. It looked like man, cover 1 spy. There was another receiver open in the back and terrible play call. No, it was cover 3. It was cover 3. It was zone. Justin Fields scrambled to the left. It became plaster once it's a zone and the quarterback's scrambling. Everyone has to grab a man to man. And Talanoa Funga just ran to the quarterback. Can't happen. I'll show you it. I can give a little all 22. You in your bag today. No lies detected. Thank you, Swan Song. Kyle was not in his bag the other day. Hold on. We're almost done. We're up to 11:37. 20 minutes. Doom, 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 doom. Okay, here's one. Caesar says Seattle's uniform looked like Sharpie highlighter.
I agree.
Dustin says, Geno or Jimmy, who do you think is better right now? Well, Geno's been playing all offseason. Jimmy hasn't done anything in a year. I don't know. Geno looked good.
But if you could say at their best, who's better, Jimmy?
Jimmy. Jimmy. Does Geno have a best? I'm not sure. That was his best last night. Camelot's Red and Gold says, if Trey doesn't improve a lot this year with Aaron Rodgers frustrated with Green Bay and lack of weapons, can he leave next year? Would Kyle go after him? If Trey doesn't improve a lot this year, if the Niners bench Trey this year, do you think he requested trade?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Is he in a position?
I don't think he's really in a position to do that.
But the more important question is, boiled down, if the Niners had a chance to get Aaron Rodgers, should they do it? Yeah. Now, even though he's a sourpuss and blames everybody and no one likes him, he's
still the best quarterback.
Yeah.
Or at least one of the best. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Michael Hamilton says vets need to step their games up. Look shabby.
Yeah, shabby is a very kind word.
Agree. Jack says the media is tough on Trey. Mostly bad highlights are shown. He made a lot of good throws. I noticed that. They're really showing a lot of his lowlights. Like I was coming back on the plane and on ESPN, they show that for free. They're like, Trey had a terrible game and showed all of his misses. And they're like, meanwhile, Justin Fields looked great. And they showed all of his good throws. Like, what? Really? I don't know. They both look like second-year quarterbacks to me.
And a take like that is actually stupid. It's stupid.
Thank you. It's stupid.
Would you agree?
It's like this guy won, this guy didn't. Okay, let's find his good plays, his bad plays, and call it analysis.
It's stupid. Yeah.
It's stupid. Gizmo Maltese says our offense is anemic. We can't start 0-3. Can Lance survive 0-3? That's the thing.
Know.
I mean,
we'll deal with it when we come to it. We'll deal with it when we come to it.
Good point. Gun Down says, Grant, can we get a what about you, Kyle? What about you, Kyle? That's from Breakfast Club. No good for nothing. What about you, Dad? What about you? We got that one. Hold on. Demonic says, keep Trey in. What are we going back to with Jimmy? It's true. It's not Joe. It's not Kurt Warner. Jeff says, Grant asked Dad if Steve was treated the same way Trey has been treated by the vets. P.S. Why was Saweetie in the NFL commercial and not E40? Because E40's like 55 at this point. Let Saweetie do her thing. Okay, Dad, did Steve have this kind of skepticism from his team?
Okay, I want to be careful. I have told this story before. Someone told me that Joe had to go out during a game and Steve came in as a replacement and he, got into the huddle and started giving orders and people in the huddle thought, who the hell are you? And I told one of the coaches about it and he said he could understand the player's point of view because you have to earn that authority. Mm-hmm. And so at least in the huddle that one time, the players did not like to hear that from Steve. Now, eventually, of course, they did. And I do know that certain players would talk behind Steve's back. I know it. While he and Joe were on the team because Joe had won Super Bowls. And Joe was one of the guys. And I think Steve tried to be one of the guys. But, Steve's an intellectual. He's a lefty. He's a Mormon. He's a little different. And I think they felt more comfortable with Joe. And also, Joe had won those Super Bowls.
And that's very similar to the dynamic that's going on with the Niners right now. Jimmy's one of the guys. Jimmy went to a Super Bowl with this team. They didn't win it, but no one's a champion on this team. Like, that's the closest any of them have been to being champions, and they did it with Jimmy. And so I can see them looking at Trey's being like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, you're not our quarterback. What have you proven? Yeah.
Here's the thing, Iggy. If we're talking about the earn it metaphor, it's positive because he can earn it.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, what you said is that like they felt Steve sort of went too far too fast. Yes. Not sure that Trey's doing that. The question more is, are they not even accepting Trey in the huddle? We don't know about that.
We don't know.
We don't know. Hold on. The last one. I'll get back to the last one in a second. Mike says all of Trey's passes to the flat slipped from his hand. Some of them were wild throws. With the amount of rain in the fourth quarter, how could Kyle call a pass outside? Take the lesser of two evils. Possible. It seemed like he was throwing well. I mean, the throw to Jennings was in the third quarter up the left sideline, but in the fourth quarter, kind of nothing was working. I did notice, though, that Justin Fields was wearing gloves throwing.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Okay.
Yeah. Why not Trey?
Yeah.
I would have worn gloves. Seemed to work for the other kid. Damien says, Grant, do you think we will re-sign Jimmy Ward? Jimmy's not taking any more BS deals from Parag and the Niners. He's 31. He has a messed up hamstring. Let's revisit that. To be determined.
Yeah, let's see how he is when he comes back. Let me say quickly before we move on, I certainly hope he recovers 100%, and I hope they re-sign him.
Me too. Absolutely. David says Trey underthrew Jennings a bit. Could have been a TD. Maybe. He hit him, though. 44-yard gain. Jennings isn't running past many people. Keneal says Kittle plus Ward coming back will help O&D plenty. Everyone woosah. Relax.
Is that woosah means relax?
Woosah. It's from Bad Boys 2. It's a
you know stuff I don't know. On the other hand, I know more about Middlemarch than you do.
That's true. You reading it right now?
No, I'm not. I'm not reading it. I've read it about 5 or 6 times.
Niner Nation says sub GCLC. LC, in your experience, why are Trey haters so adamant that Trey's a bust in only his third start. GC, well, you first. Why are Trey? It's we said at the beginning. It's because he's the topic du jour.
Okay, but it says, why are Trey haters?
Yeah.
That's how fans are.
Yeah.
Fans are not looking for the middle ground. They're either black or white.
Yeah.
They're not looking for the gray.
No.
Fans are all in like that. Iggy and I are not fans, so we don't get emotional about things like that. So a Trey hater, if he has a good game, becomes a Trey lover. That's how it works.
That's true. That's true. I agree. That's a good point. GC, follow up to LC's question. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't win a Super Bowl, so why are the stands praying for more big time losses? I don't know. I think, again, like the people in the locker room, they feel like they didn't lose that Super Bowl. They were this close. If there was one call or one play or, they really are champions. Like, no, you're not. You lost. Sorry. Move on. Move the hell on. I think that's the end. We made it. It's the show.
Well, we had a long show today.
We had a long show today. People are worked up. They don't know what to think. When you lose that's what I love about football. When you lose week 1, week 2 is the most serious game. It's the most serious game. You better win. And if you lose, it's not the end of the world, but week 3 becomes like DEFCON 7. It's great. I love that. I
got another topic, and
yes.
it's a Dallas Cowboys topic. So we got to be very careful with this. Okay. After, Dak Prescott broke his thumb.
Mm-hmm.
So Stephen A. Smith went on ESPN and said, did you hear it, Iggy?
No, I love the middle initial, as if like, Stephen, not Stephen B. Smith, Stephen. Okay. That's
by the way,
right.
My middle initial is A. Arthur. Yeah. Lowell A. Cohn. So Lowell A. Cohn noticed that Stephen A. Smith, Lowell A. noticed that Stephen A. said that the Dallas should call Kaepernick.
Kaepernick or Jimmy?
Kaepernick.
Oh, wow.
No, not Jimmy.
Kaepernick? Okay.
I swear to God.
Wow.
But on the show was Michael Irvin, who happened to be a fairly good player for Dallas.
Fairly.
Michael Irvin puts his arms out like this and forget Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Just forget it. Let's not talk about this anymore. He said, how many years has the guy been out of the league? And the point is, we're not talking about his politics or anything.
No.
Kaepernick. Talent is perishable.
Right.
His sell-by date is long gone. And I think that announcers and writers should not talk about him anymore as a football player. He's past his career. And so I thought it was kind of irresponsible for Smith to bring it up. And God love Michael Irvin.
He's been on the couch, Colin. He's been on the couch, as they say, right? If you're not playing football, you're on the couch. He's been on the couch for 5 years or more. So look, maybe there's some world where he can make this storybook return to the field, but it would involve like an entire off season and incredible training. And he's not just going to just step off the couch after 5.5 years and win next week for Dallas. Like, that's not going to happen.
No,
I don't even think that's another reason why Jimmy probably won't go there either. Like, you haven't done anything all off season.
Right.
You're pretty much on the couch too. I don't think you're prepared to just, hey, I'm here. Let's go. I'll win this week. Like, no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So that was my bonus. That was my bonus topic. And what I don't understand about myself, was that topic about Kaepernick or was it about Smith? I'd have to think what the topic was about.
I think that topic was about both. Because it's worth pointing out that it's at this point with Kaepernick, it's not about politics. It's about he hasn't played in 5 years. I remember when the Raiders traded for Carson Palmer, I think he'd been on the couch for like 2 years, and everyone was like, well, how can you do this? He hasn't played in 2 whole years. And it took a while. So yeah, it's an issue. And now he's 35 years old. So probably not.
Colin is 35?
No, he'll be 35 in November. Sorry. He'll be 35 in November. He's a little bit older than me.
He's too old.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my bonus topic. Oh, you got another?
We got bonus questions. Carmelo says, thank you for your level head on Lance and not like the rest of the reporters.
Well, thank you. Thank you,
Carmelo. G-Code Travels Vlog POV says, Grant, you talked about the 72 Dolphins. SLZ Rebels DT Manny Fernandez reminds me of Eric Armstead dominates Niners D-line. Well, hey, I don't think the Niners are going to be going undefeated this year, Dad. What do you think?
Well, I think they're going to murder the Bears, so I think they're going to start 1-0.
Me too. I'm feeling pretty good about that. They'll have a good start to the season.
Yeah, I think they'll be undefeated.
Glass half full guy says, can you explain to me why Ayuk got so little reception this game? That offense PI when him was BS. I don't understand, Dad. You
Well,
have
I can
Ayuk.
explain it.
Talk to me. Tell me.
I can explain it.
Yes.
We have seen time and time again at what Iggy and I call the crisis moment. Kyle does not rise to the occasion.
No.
I covered Bill Walsh, and he's the paradigm for how I judge football coaches.
Yeah.
It's obvious, and he was great.
Yeah.
Bill was in real life was a kind of a neurotic guy. Neurotic. I don't think Kyle is, but in a game, he was so grounded. And at the crisis moment, he came through. This guy, Kyle, may be a grounded individual, but not in a football game.
Nah. And, I asked Kyle, I said, given the offseason, the outstanding offseason that Brandon Ayuk had, it was kind of surprising that he only had 2 targets and 3 touches in the game. Why didn't he get more touches? And he basically just said, well, that's the game just played out that way.
I heard that. That's how it worked. That's not an answer.
Okay, so you're not in control. You're an observer. Okay, got it.
Right.
Got it.
A better answer would have been, I chose not to give him the ball for these reasons. That's a better answer.
Ooh, the best answer is, that was my fault. I got to do a better job getting Brandon Ayuk the ball. That's the answer. Oh, that's on me. That's on me. Oh, yeah, I did not do a good enough job week 1. I'm going to end of story.
Yeah. I love it.
Yep. Last one. Rod Simmons says, at Lowell, your son is the Don. His football IQ isn't what I'm prone to seeing from a journalist. He even gave us a breakdown in slow motion on Trey's throwing mechanics. Who does that? QC is the source. Thank you, Rod.
Okay. I thank you for that comment. I want to tell you, and I've said it before, on that beat, the Niners beat, I respect all the people who cover it. Matty Mayoko, as some of you know, is a dear friend of mine. We've been friends.
Mine too.
A dear friend. And Matty is better connected, I believe, than anyone on the beat. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay. But if you want a breakdown of what's happening on the offensive line or with the quarterback or with the cornerbacks, Iggy has made a study of football, of the game. And I think he's at a different level from most journalists. Would that be, am I overstating it, Iggy?
I'll let you say it. Thanks, though. I appreciate it. That was nice.
And Iggy has guidance from people who have been coaches.
I guess I felt that to make a name for myself on such a good beat with so many established beat writers, I had to go the extra mile, do different things. I think, I needed to stand out in ways. So I tried to have a different level of depth in my analysis and then do film stuff and things like that.
Is that why you wear the cone head thing?
That's why I wear the cone head thing. Yeah, just to be a little bit more serious in my analysis. Do you think Kyle was playing predictable? I think he was playing conservative.
Conservative.
HBO says, if we judge every quarterback after 3 games or even 1 year, then Montana, Young, and Manning aren't Hall of Famers. Shout out to both you legends.
Iggy, you're now a legend.
I'm a legend.